we, the developers of free software, are human too. So we also make mistakes, and the code of our free programs has bugs. But if you encounter a bug in our code or anything you don't like, you are free to change it, because we didn't make you a prisoner. We can't be perfect. We can respect your freedom. Thus, freedom 1 is essential. But it's not enough, because that's the freedom to personally study and change the source code. What if you were one of those millions of users that don't know how to program? Then you can't study and change the source code yourself. But even for programmers like me, freedom 1's not enough, because there is so much free software in the world that nobody is capable of studying and mastering all the source code and personally making all the changes that she might want, because that is more work than any one human being can do. So the only way we can fully have control of our computing is to do it working together, cooperating. And for that, we need freedom 3, the freedom to contribute to your community, the freedom to distribute copies of your modified versions when you wish. This allows people to cooperate. Here's an example. Suppose a few people release a free program, and a lot of us use it because we like it, but we wish it had certain additional features. Well, someone can start with this version, add some of those features, and release his modified version. And someone else can start with that and add some more features and release her modified version. And then a few people can start with that and add the rest of these features and release their modified version. And then we'll have those features and we'll say, thank you for cooperating to make these improvements. And thus, when we have all 4 freedoms, we, the users, are in control of our own computing lives. Now, all the users get the benefit of the 4 freedoms. Every user can directly exercise freedoms 0 and 2, the freedom to run the program as you wish and the freedom to redistribute exact copies, because these don't require programming. Anybody who can use the program can figure out how to do these things, and they do them. Freedoms 1 and 3, the freedom to study and change the source code and then optionally distribute copies of your modified versions, these entail programming. So not everybody knows how to do them. And so there are people who can't directly exercise these freedoms. But when others, the programmers, exercise these freedoms, and when they publish their modified versions, all the rest of us can then install those modified versions or not, as we prefer. So we all receive the benefits of living in a society where people have the 4 freedoms, even when we don't exercise them directly. In addition, those who don't know how to program and can't directly exercise freedoms 1 and 3 can indirectly take advantage of them. Suppose that you run a business which uses computers, as most businesses do, but suppose that you don't know anything about programming because your business is in some other field. Most businesses are not in the software field. They use computers, but they use them to do other things. Well, if you recognize that supposing the program were changed, your business would run more efficiently and you'd make more money, it would be worth it to you to pay a programmer to implement that change if the price is right. So, if it's free software, you can look around for a programmer who's willing to undertake the changes you want, or some fraction of them, for a price you think is suitable. Then you exercise your freedom number 2 to give that programmer an exact copy of the version that you are using. Then that programmer exercises his freedom 1, studying the source code of that version and changing it to implement the changes you wanted. And then he exercises his freedom number 3 to give you a copy of his modified version. And then, assuming it works, you pay him for this work. So in this scenario, you use the fact that other users have freedoms 1 and 3. You pay them to exercise those freedoms for you, and so you get the benefit. An important part of free software business works this way, and this is why free software is of tremendous benefit to all businesses that use computers. They deserve the 4 freedoms, just as individuals in their non-commercial lives deserve the 4 freedoms, just as every user deserves the 4 freedoms. And the end combined result of the 4 freedoms is democracy. A free program develops democratically under the control of its users, because all the users can participate as much as they wish in the social decision about the future of this program, which is simply the sum total of all the individual decisions that people make about what to do with the program. By contrast, a proprietary program develops under the dictatorship of its developer, the autocracy of its developer, who uses that program as an instrument to impose his power on users, who he can then bully, command, and mistreat and exploit. So on one hand, we have individual freedom, social solidarity, and democracy. On the other, we have a dictatorship. Society must choose free software and reject proprietary software. There's no excuse for anyone to have the unjust power that proprietary software gives to its developer. You shouldn't let anyone have that kind of power over you, so you need to reject proprietary software. But society also should reject it. The aim of the free software movement is the liberation of cyberspace and all its inhabitants. We should all have freedom.